Hello everyone and welcome to Part 5, Tuples, Sets, and Booleans. Tuple sets and Booleans are going to be the last data types or basic data structures for Python that we're going to be covering, so we'll just cover them briefly and explain what they are. Tuples are immutable sequences, meaning they kind of act like a list, except you can't index something from a tuple and then try to change it. It's immutable. Sets are unordered collections of unique elements, and Booleans, just like before, are true and false statements. Let's get started by going to the editor and showing you some quick examples of tuples, sets, and booleans. Alright, let's first just show booleans in Python. Booleans in Python are true with a capital T and false with a capital F. And as a quick note, you can also use 0 and 1 in control flow statements, but it's more common to see true and false than just a pure 0 or 1. But sometimes the situation makes more sense to use a numerical Boolean value versus true and false. Okay, that's basically it for Booleans. If you want to learn more about them, you can go back to the JavaScript section where we explain how to actually use Booleans more clearly. As far as the syntax though, it's just a capital T and capital F when dealing with Booleans. Now tuples are immutable sequences, so let's cover them real quickly. You construct a tuple just like you would a list, except instead of using square brackets, you use parentheses. And then you create a sequence. So there's a tuple, 1, 2, 3. And you can index out of a tuple using the bracket notation like you did for a list. So if I want the very first item in a tuple, that would just be index 0. So let's show this. I'm going to say Python, and this file is notes.py. And here I get 1 out since that was printing t of 0. Tuples can also hold mixed data types just like a list. So I could say t is equal to a, true, and 123. Save that. Say print t. Save it. Python notes.py. That's totally fine. So tuples, again, basically like a list, except the main difference is that they're immutable. So if I try to say t of 0 is equal to something new, and I run this, I'm going to get an error. And notice it says tuple object does not support item assignment. And that was actually the same error we got when we try to do the same thing with a string. So both a string and a tuple are immutable. A list, however, is mutable. So let's change these to be a list by just changing out the brackets. And now if I try this, and let's, instead of calling it t, we'll call it my list, and then finally over here, my list. If I run this again, now a, true, and 1, 2, 3 are totally fine. I successfully ran that, so let's actually print it out to make sure. Save it, run it, and here I can see that a list is mutable, but a tuple is not. And that's basically all you need to know about a list. Slicing, indexing, it's all exactly the same between a list and a tuple. So let's delete that. And now finally, let's discuss sets. So sets are unordered collections of unique elements. And we can construct a set by calling the set keyword. I can say set, or x is equal to set, close parentheses. And then if I want to add something to the set, I can use the add method. And you can see here the list of methods available. But I will say add 1 to the set. And then I will add 2 to the set. And then I'm going to print the set. So let's save this and see what happens. So here I have my set 1 and 2. Note how it has the curly brackets. So it looks very similar to a dictionary, except there aren't key value pairs here. It's just a bunch of elements. And remember, for a set, the elements are unordered. So it has no particular order. If I print out x another time, it may come out another way. So let's add some more elements to a set, such as 4, and let's do 0.1. Whoops, I need to add that. Save this, run this again. 0.1, 1, 2, and 4. So notice that it's coming out in a different way than I had actually imported. And don't be fooled that they come out sorted. That's not exactly how the set is putting them in. So it doesn't send them out in any sort of sorting order. It's always an unordered collection of elements, unique elements. So let's focus on that unique aspect. So what does it actually mean by unique? Well, I'm going to try adding the similar elements multiple times. So I will try to add 4 again, and say x add 4 again. Now a set, when you run this, is only going to put out 1, 2, and 4, even though I added 4 3 separate times. The reason for that is because it only takes in unique elements. So once an element is in the set, that's it. You can't keep adding it multiple times. It's only unique elements, which makes a set call really convenient to call on a list of multiple elements. So if I have a list with repeated elements like this one, so I see the brackets here, this inside is a list, and I do a set call on that list, and let's print it out. So now I'm going to save this as, let's call it converted, because I'm converting a list into a set. And then I'm going to say print out converted. We'll save this and then run this. And now I can see I get 1, 2, 4, that was x, and converted, I got this whole list with multiple elements to just be 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's really all we need to know now about Booleans, sets, and tuples. Later on when we cover for loops, we'll talk about tuple unpacking a little bit, which is really common with Python. Sets, we won't be seeing them too much throughout the course. Booleans, we'll see those all the time. So keep those in mind as we continue on through the course. Thanks, and I'll see you at the next lecture.